to Fabulosity For You, and my name is Angie. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please click the subscribe button, then click the notification bell so when I upload videos, you'll be the first to know. Like this video and make a comment. This channel is about fashion, relationship advice, and lifestyle. And this is not your first time visiting my channel, well, welcome back, my queens, and welcome to the kings out there. Welcome to all of my new fabulous ones, and welcome back to my fabulous ones that have been with me. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be talking about the 90-Day Fiancé, Season 11, Episode 8 and 9. But before we begin, go get your drink of choice and go get your snack of choice and come back and sit with your girl Angie. Text, email, call. You better stick a line at the bottom, baby, and let everybody know that Angie is on the line. Okay, so we're going to get right into this. I don't want this video to be long, so I'm going to get right into it. Okay, so with episode 8, we're going to talk about Jessica and Juan. So Jessica meets her best friend, Megan, out. Okay, she orders them both a margarita, a peach margarita, and she's coming out to understand why Megan was so hurt. Now, she know that Megan was really upset because Juan lied and she lied. She didn't tell her friend that her man had cheated on her. So she comes in and she sits down and she's like, Megan, I want to talk about the other night. You were crying, you was upset, and I know I had something to do with that because you didn't know that I knew that, and I didn't tell you that Juan cheated on me. And she was like, right, I'm just so upset, because I didn't know, and I'm just hurt that you lied to me. He lied to me, but deep in my heart, I knew it was a lie. And she said, well, the bottom line is, this is going to be my husband. We have children, we have a child together, and I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hear what you had to say. I just didn't want to hear it. But at the end of the day, I want you to be my maid of honor. And so how is this going to work if you are not going to give Juan a chance? And so she was like, well, you know what? It is what it is. I'm hurt. It's going to take me a long time to rebuild, but I'm quite sure we'll get there. And the bottom line is, what a friend have to understand, I'm going to keep this real quick. If she got a man and he did some mess and she okay with it, you got to be okay with it. Because at the end of the day, if she has to make a choice between her friend and her man, honey, especially if they got children together, it's not going to be you. It's not going to be you. So all of this dramatic crying, and she don't have a man of her own, or she wouldn't even be like that. I hate a needy friend. But at the end of the day, you got to roll with the punches. If your friend is good, then you got to be good. If she going to forgive him, then you got to forgive him. But all of this crying like he did something to you, girl, you going to end up on the outside, looking on the inside. Okay? And so the friend was like, I know I have to get over it. It's going to be hard. It's going to take me a minute. But this is my friend. Of course, this is your friend. So moving right along, they were not in episode 9. So we're going to get with Stevie and Maddie. So in episode 8, they go to the gym. He was used to going to the gym daily back at home. And he been eating all this donuts and good food. However, he's never seen a woman in the gym. There are no women in the gym in Iran. And so this is like a scene from a movie to him, that he's in the gym and he's working out with women. Now, in Iran, they focus on a man getting horny. And so they don't want no woman bending over and looking all like a snack in her workout outfit. No, they don't go for that. It's like, no. So this is something that's totally new for him. And he's looking at the women around and he don't want to look, but he looking, but he don't want to look. So he's sitting up trying to lift weights, and this woman comes up to him. She's gorgeous. She has a body, and she's like, wow, do you mind if I use this? And she's explaining about the weights. And honey, out of nowhere, like, here comes Stevi. And she has on headphones she can't hear. So she was like, oh, wow, who is this? And he was like, I don't know. Well, is she helping you? No, she's not helping me. She asked me a question. Oh, okay. And she was trying to hug him. And I was trying to keep this real quick. But I cannot stand a woman that's insecure. I don't care if you're the biggest one in the house, baby. You better be secure in who you are. And don't let nobody else make you feel insecure, okay? When you know what you know about yourself and you have that confidence, it don't matter what size you are. You're going to think you're the baddest one in the house. And a man loves a woman with confidence, not a woman that don't have none. So anyway, they continue to work out, but they go further down working out. And she was like, well, he said, well, if I decide to be a personal trainer and I'm working with a woman, how would you feel about that? And she was like, well, it all depends on your professionalism. If she tried to come on to you, what would you do? What would you say? And he was like, well, I would say I'm married. And she was like, well, that's the right answer. That's the right answer. So then she says, well, let's switch it around. What if a man wanted me to paint his body naked? What would you say? So he was like, I wouldn't be cool with that. But I would rather that than you paint a lot of breasts. So let me ask you this. Are you attracted to a woman? Because when I first came to your apartment, I saw all these women's breasts. I'm like, looking like, do she really like this? Now, Stevie was acting like she was taken aback, and she wouldn't answer. She was like, I'm attracted to you. But he said, that's not what I asked. Are you attracted to a woman? And she said, I think this is a weird type of question. I don't like you answering it. And I don't feel like I need to answer it. And he felt uncomfortable because he was like, why wouldn't she answer it if I'm feeling like she should answer? So she ends up saying, you sound like my father. When I was telling him about you, he was like, are you sure it's not a woman? And he was like, well, he must have saw something. He must have seen something. And she was like, you're not going to get me to tell you what you want me to say, so we need to change the subject. And let me add my 2 cents in that. If you're not bisexual, what's wrong with saying I'm not attracted to women? Period. In a heartbeat, I'm not attracted to women. So that leads me to think, she may be attracted to women. Okay, so let's keep it going. So they end up in episode 9 having a date night, and Stevi is lighting candles. She puts on a black dress. She pours them some wine. He tells her she looks nice, and she planned for them to paint. And so she had her canvas and her paint, and she said, "If can you paint my booty and I sit on the canvas?" And he was like, "Absolutely not. I don't feel right with that. I'm not comfortable with that." And so she was like, okay, well, we can decide to do something else. So they decided she would paint his arm and put it on the canvas, and he ended up liking it. And so while they're in good spirits, Maddie tells Stevi, hey, remember I was telling you they're increasing the price of changing the residency from the status that we have now to permanent. And because they are increasing it, I think that we should just get married now. And she was like, excuse me? So what do you mean by now? He was like, I think we should get married in the next couple of weeks before they raise the prices. And she felt a certain way because she felt like this dude just asked me, was I bisexual? He's saying that he misses family so much that he could want to go home. And so he's like, she's like confused. And so she was like, no, I don't think this is a good idea right now, because until you make me feel like you want me 100%, you want to be here 100%. And so until that happens, I'm going to have to do a hard no. So later on down the road, the next day or whatever, they ended up meeting her friends. Okay. And so, her friends are the ones that helped her pay for the trip to come to Iran. So they're very close. The friend sees that things are off during the night and asked her to come back. They came to a place where they blow glasses or whatever, make glasses. And she asked her, what's going on? You don't seem like you're yourself. And she said, well, I'm really confused. One minute he's missing his family and says he wants to go home. And the next minute he's asking me he's ready to get married. And so she was like, well, you need to make sure that he's here for you. And so, meanwhile, on the ranch the next day, well, Stevie had a talk with her husband, the friend's husband, and he's telling him that it's normal to feel a certain kind of way because you just got here. But you have to understand, Stevie knows what you gave up, and she knows it's hard for you. But at the same time, you have to make her feel like you are here for her and all of the things. And so what he decided to do, the father was going out with the father, and the father was taking him on a monster truck show. And they got there, and Maddie's like, I don't feel like I belong here. It was like a lot of trucks, and I don't blame him. But in the midst of all of that, Maddie asked her father for her daughter's hand. And he said he heard that Stevie that Maddie has been wanting to go home. So he can't really give blessings unless he knows for sure that Maddie is here for his daughter. So after the monster truck show, they had a talk, and the daddy told him how he felt. He said, I really do think that you're a nice guy. I know that she really loves you. She wouldn't have brought you here if she didn't. But if you're trying to go, I have to know the truth for my daughter, and you're not going to go back home and all of the things. And he said that, he really loves her, and he really wants to marry her. He shows her the ring that he bought for his daughter. And so with that, he said, you know what? If you really are trying to be with my daughter, I will give you the blessings. And so that's how that ends. Now, my 2 cents is, don't go where that man is using Stevie. He do not care about her, honey. He think he the prize, and he gonna come here, and then he gonna get his residency, and then it's gonna be over with. Mark my words. I'm sorry. I told you from the beginning, I didn't think they were a good couple. I didn't think felt like he was really in love with her. I think that he said if she is bisexual, he can't deal with no bisexual woman. And guess what? That's his preference. And to me, she should have answered him 100%. But because she didn't, and then she brought her father saying he thought the same thing, then you know what? Maybe she using him. And maybe that's why the daddy is going to give his blessings, because he'd rather him be with somebody from Iran than be with a woman. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The next couple we're going to talk about is the throuple, Mina, Matt, and Annie. So in episode 8, they have a driver pick them up in a classic car to take them to a private wine tour. Amani says they're in a good place, but she still is upset that she doesn't want to tell her family the truth about their relationship. And to be honest with you, I really don't understand that, because y'all grown. So what difference does it make if she don't tell her parents? And you guys might not work out. And the question should have been, did you tell your mama and daddy that you're gonna divorce and be in a throuple? That should have been the question. Throw that question back to them. So the driver sees the kinkiness going on and asked Annie, was she Mexican? She was like, yes. And he said, if you're introducing her to a woman, your parents to a woman, and to her husband, your parents are going to be like, oh my God, because Mexicans are very religious, okay? And they don't play that, all right? And so they don't understand that. So Annie asked Amina what's wrong in the when they get out, and she said she can tell something's wrong. Amina said she doesn't want to be introduced as a friend, and Matt and is supposed to be her fiance. She doesn't feel comfortable with that, and she says, are you going to be able to do that? And Annie was like, hell no, I'm not. And so when she said, hell no, I'm not, Annie says that she feels pressure to do something she's just not ready to do. Amina asked Annie, okay, you don't want to introduce you to your family. Have you mentioned us and said you want a throuple to your friends? And have you told them about us? And she was like, no. Annie gets upset, walks away, and says she can't do this. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't. And then she turns around and she says, you can't turn a housewife into a hoe. Girl, to me, that is definitely fighting words, okay? I wish somebody would say to me, you can't turn a housewife into a hoe. Girl, that's when I will take off my shoes and this and that, and that's fighting words. And I show you what Annie really thinks of Amina. Okay. Of Annie. I'm sorry. Of Annie. So, they ended up, Matt and Annie is talking at the winery, and he's saying, well, you know how she's feeling. And so, meanwhile, you hear this in the background. Oh, no. Oh, that's how she think. Oh, I can't do this. I need to go home with my kids. She steady crying. And Matt is like, she's upset because she's hurt, We're being honest. We're doing everything we can. We came here and we're talking about divorcing and bringing you out, and you can't tell nobody. So she started, you guys just don't understand. So he goes finally after his wife, honey, because she was back there. And he's sitting there talking to her. So he finally go check on his wife. And she's like, I can't do this. So finally, Annie gets up and she walks. And she's like, baby, it's okay. You're taking it all wrong. And so Matt goes on his way, because Matt was like, I don't know what to do with these two. And so she was like, I don't know, why you acting like this. I mean, you need to give me a chance. You don't own me. You might be giving me some money, but you don't own me. And you're not the boss of me. And so I can't deal with all of this. You better be easy with me. And so Annie went running off. And so that's when she chasing her. But the irony of it all is, all that crying Amani was doing, it was no tears when they came to get her. Her eyeliner hadn't been run down. None of that. Fake tears. And so she runs down and she was like, I'm not saying I don't own you and this and that, but I'm just, I don't know what to think. And she's like, listen, I love you. I don't love him. Only reason I'm in this relationship is because of you. And so they was hugging, and then she was like, but we're a throuple, so you got to love us both. And she was like, listen, I love you. Now, Annie said that because she knows that Amani is jealous. And those are the words that she wants to hear. And Amani knows that, well, she doesn't know, but she feels like she might be saying that because she knows that's what she wants to hear. And that's what she wants to hear, because at the end of the day, she is the man in the relationship. She takes care of her husband. She's the breadwinner. He stays at home with the kids. He brings the kids. She brings the money home. He didn't want to do none of this. Fa la la. She did. And she was looking for a wifey. And she got jealous because she saw the wifey she chose was really into her husband. And now she feel like a fool. So they end up kind of making up. And she said she want to go back to the hotel room. She has a lot to think about. The next morning, they wake up and she wants to have the husband said he's going to get the breakfast. And she said, no, I want to go with you. Annie's not sleeping. Annie slept on the couch and she's listening. And when they said she was going, they didn't ask her, did you want me to bring you back some bacon and eggs? They didn't ask her that. So the wife went on with her man and they had a conversation and she was like, do you love her? And he was like, to be honest with you, I've known you for a long time and I love you, but I can't say I love her. But she was like, but you said you've been loving her. And he said, I really don't love her. And so she was like, well, why are we doing this? Because at the end of the day, she's not acting like she wants to tell people about us. And he was in agreement. And he was like, I'm kind of sick of it. And so, I don't know. They go back to the hotel and they talk to Annie and they're like, she's like, I really want to work this out, but I know you need time. And so we just going to see what happens. Okay. Annie, on the other hand, is feeling like she's really scared to go to the United States. But so we gotta find out how this is all gonna work out. And at the end of the day, it's not gonna work out because the wife is jealous. And if you're gonna be jealous of the other woman, then you shouldn't have brought another woman in there. Period. She's a fool. So the next we're gonna go to Joan and Greg. So Joan was saying, I guess they had sex or whatever that night and whatever. And she's telling him that in order for her to stay here, he got to get a job. You got to get a job. And it was like, wow, I'm really surprised that you coming at me like that. And she said, because I got to come at you like that because you don't have a job. So he was like, well, I'm really surprised that she act like I can't take care of her, that I wouldn't take care of her, that she don't trust me. And so he was like, well, guess what? Matter of fact, I got a job interview with the state. And she was like, well, that's good. And she was like, that's the whole point of me being aggressive, and so he would get a job. To push him to get a job. And he's doing it. That's the whole reason I threatened him going back to Uganda. He's doing it, and this is what I want. So he was like, well, I'm going to get this job. And she said, well, I hope you take it serious. And honey, she wasn't looking like she was playing no games. And he was like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? Because you have been taking it serious. And if you can't get a job in 2 weeks, I'm up. And he was like, hold up. Where is this coming from? Why are you saying this? You got to give me some time. I might not get a job in 2 weeks. It might take 30 days. Well, 30 days. But at the end of the day, if you can't get no job, and I'm like this because I don't feel like I'm being supported, or you can support me, or you taking things serious. And if you can't get no job, then guess what? I'm up. And so he was like, baby, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to take it serious. Hey, get your finest dress on, because when I come back from the interview, we going out to celebrate. And she was like, that's what I'm talking about. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so then the next couple we're going to talk about is Mark and we're going to talk about Mark and Mina. So in episode 8, Mina, they set up and talked about you got to have a Joan, his daughter Jordan brought up the marriage, I can't even think of the name of it, but where you got to sign the papers. You know what I'm talking about. The marriage where you split everything down. I can't think about the name right now. But she mentioned that and went crazy. Went back and to the back of a little back further from everybody. And so she's back there and starts up the prenup. There you go, the prenup. I'm sick. They want me to sign a prenup, and I don't know what it is, and they want to protect themselves, and they all gaining on me. So Jordan was like, so Mark was like, finally he stands up. And he's like, okay, so guys, we got to stop this. You know, a prenup Jordan shouldn't have never mentioned it. Mina is feeling ganged up on. She's over there crying. Let me keep it real. I appreciate y'all trying to help me, but at the end of the day, this is gonna be my wife, and I got a baby with her. We've been together for years, and so y'all need to back up. So he said, I'm finna see about my wife. Bravo! It's about time. It's about time you stand up for your woman. So he go back and see how she doing, and she was like, I really don't like your family that they ganged up on me. And he's like, no, it's really not like that. So Jordan said to Nana, which is his mama and her grandmother, she said, Nana, why don't you go over there and talk to her, because she's like acting like everybody's against her. Maybe you can put everything back together. So Nana gets up and she walks over there, and she was like, listen, baby, I know you feel like everybody's against you, but our family is not. We are a family. We talk things out about everything, so you don't have no reason to feel bad or none of that. And I'm sorry you feel that way and da-da-da-da-da. So then she says, are you ready to talk to Jordan? And so Mina like don't want to be the one that's being a ass. So she was like, okay. So Mama tells Mark, Nana tells Mark to go get Jordan. Jordan comes over, and she was like, listen, first of all, I just want to say this. You called me a snake. I don't know what that means, but I don't think it's nice, and I feel like I deserve an apology. So Mina looking like this, and Mama was like, are you going to apologize? So Jordan knew to send the mother over there, and knew she wasn't going to go disrespect Mark's mother. And so she was like, well, maybe the translation, I did not need anything bad about it. Maybe it's the translations. I apologize. And so Nana said, well, are you going to invite her to the wedding? Well, of course. Mark would want that to happen. I just want peace. And so Joan was like, well, I'm going to say this. If I did anything or said anything to offend you, I apologize. And she grabbed her hand. I just want us to work things out, because That's my father, and I want the best for him. Oh, yeah, me too, me too, me too. And she looking at her sideways. And meantime, she was like, it's just tripped out. She sat up and said she don't want her daddy having babies with her, that she should get another man if she wants to have children. She didn't apologize to that. She didn't apologize to a lot of things. I'm being a bigger person, and I'm sitting up here telling her I'm sorry. Yeah. So then, Mark, they go back to the house, and they having a good time. And Mina is being phony because she know these people was phony. And so Mark is like, well, that's good. I'm glad my family done got together because that's all I want is everybody to come our way and be happy. And Jordan had the nerve for once in her life trying to talk, be friends with the baby girl, her baby sister. And he was like, yeah, you know, you play with your baby sister. This is your sister. And Jordan was looking all tripped out. Yeah, I just want everybody to be one happy family. So they go ahead on back home, back to their hotel room, Mina, Mark, and the baby. And they have to take the ferry back, and he's happy. He's, you know, throwing the baby up, and he's happy saying, well, this was turned out to be a good day, and I'm so glad you're in my family. And Mina, with her makeup running all down her face, is like, I'm not going to sign the prenup. Now, on the ferry, she was like, they want to protect themselves. She don't even know what's in the prenup. He never even talked to her about it. So why would she sign it? Why would she set her own self up to get the short end of the stick? Not doing it. And so that's what she said, not doing it. Well, I thought we all had it together. She was like, yeah, I said that in front of your family, but not doing it. And he was like, well, I don't know what my daughter gonna think if they don't, my family and Joan gonna think if I don't have her sign the prenup. Oh my God. It's just sickening that he sit up and he's in a full-blown relationship with a woman he's been with for 5 years, and you sitting up involving your daughter on every step of the way, your grown daughter. But we learned something about Jordan while she doing this. So in episode 9, he takes her to Florida, her and the baby. And he takes her to this woman named Diane has a boutique that his ex-girlfriend, that's her best friend, all right? Her best friend, his ex-girlfriend Jade, that's her girlfriend, best friend, and he taking his lady there, seeing how nice she is. You can pick out some clothes. I just want to visit some people while I'm here, and all of the things. So they go into the shop, and she phony is all outdoors. Hi. Oh, well, I heard so much about you. Did you get a BMW? How shady. He was like, let's not bring this up. Oh, yeah. What does she mean by that? Oh, well, I bought Jordan a BMW. Knock, 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 knock. Jordan is after daddy money, and Jordan don't want to be cut off of the allowance and our daddy money. So she is going to be after Mina. And so she said, yeah, you gave Jordan, and then you gave my best friend Jade, your ex-girlfriend, you gave her a BMW too. You was passing out BMWs. You get a BMW, you get a BMW. And he didn't even know her long. And so I was really like, wow. It was kind of strange. So he was joking. He was like, oh, don't you bring that up. I didn't buy it. I helped her get it. Man, and so she said, well, why don't you didn't get no BMW? And so she was like, no. Well, she can get a dress. Let her pick out an outfit. She said, oh, you going to get that big car. You going to get you a Rolls Royce and this and that. You going to get it all, honey, because that's what he do. And so Amina, right away felt uncomfortable. So he says, well, I'm going to leave y'all to shopping, and I'm going to leave her to shopping and take the baby, and I'll be back. As soon as he left, the friend was like, wow, I'm so surprised you came. And she was like, why? Because he been talking to me about you for years, and you not even visit. And she was like, it's hard getting a visa. It's a lot of rules. I couldn't come. And she was like, okay. Well, I'm glad you're here because I wanted to tell you this story. I wanted to tell you what, that he was in love with my best friend. Her name was Jay. She was like, I heard of Jay. Right. And then he all of a sudden, after they broke up, saying he met you. And he said, y'all look alike. And when I saw the picture, y'all did look alike. And I'm like, is he only dealing with her because he can't get over my best friend? And so Amina was like, he's saying that his friend is so nice, but I feel so uncomfortable and it's very inappropriate, this conversation. And I thought it was inappropriate. Because guess what? He been with her for 5 years. Has a daughter. So when was the last time he was in a relationship with your friend? So why are you even talking about your friend? But shame on Mark. Mark is just, I don't know, oblivious to things. And he really is working my nerve. Why would you bring your woman to a woman that was best friends with your ex-woman? You tell me what sense did that make? And so Mina was very uncomfortable, but yes, she wanted to know. And she was like, yeah, they used to live together. And she said, he didn't tell me they lived together. He said they didn't live together. They lived together. Where do they live? In New Hampshire? They live together here. Okay, he moved her in and her son within 2 months. And she said, yeah, that's kind of like my situation. And that's why I'm giving you this information, because you finna marry him. And I was so surprised that he was finna get married. And I'm surprised that you was really not a snuffer up, I guess. But at the end of the day, I think that he basically is with you because he can't be with my friend. Because he was in love with her. And so she was like, well, why did they break up? And she was like, they broke up. She said, because he told me because she didn't want to move to New Hampshire. That was just a little part of it. He's a pilot. He left his phone and he left his, I think she said his tablet. And somehow she heard a conversation and he was cheating on her with various women. And so she was like, this don't sound like my man. This don't sound like the man I know. And so she said, well, that's why I'm telling you this, because you need to know who you're dealing with. And at the end of the day, I don't think that he's with you because he wanted to be with you. I think he's with you because he couldn't have my friend. And if they had continued to date, he would have asked to marry her. But he asked to marry you. And so if you want, you can talk to her. I'll give you the number. And you can ask her whatever questions or meet up. She'll be okay to meet with you. And I just thought all of this was messy. Because if he was all in love with her friend, he wouldn't have been cheating on her. Okay? So he never asked to marry her friend, so they don't know if they would have really got married or not. And so this woman is just being messy for her friend, because that was her man, and she jealous that he done moved on and finna marry somebody. And so, if I was Amina, I would never listen to another woman. Not when you know your man. Period. You can hear her out. That's what you decide to do. But I would be like, honey, well, you know what? That's the past, and I am the future. We have a child together. And we've been married for 5 years. When was the last time they was together? When did all this happen? And I will be on to the next. I went about from that boutique to give her a commission. I would have bought absolutely nothing. I would have walked around and said, it's just nothing in here I want. But thank you. Me and my man, we're going to go on Cheerios. Tell your friend, I said, I'm sorry it didn't work out, boo. Sorry it didn't work out for you. But instead, Mina is falling into the trap. She buys these outfits and the lady's like, oh, you look beautiful. You look so beautiful. And being funny with Mark. And so she gets in the car and she's like, you know what? I'm mad. And he was like, what's going on? What happened? What did she sit up? I'm upset because she told me that you live with your ex-girlfriend. She told me that I'm a lookalike. She told me that you just want me because she didn't want you. And he was getting a headache. He was like, listen, I married you. We got the children. I didn't ask to marry her. Well, I'm asked to marry you. I didn't ask to marry her. I'm not with her. I have a baby with you, man. You've been together a long time. I don't care what Diane said. It's not true. And guess what? I'm done talking about it. And so that's how that ended. And that's how that ended. So, we're going to go ahead on to Shawn and Alliya. I'm going to make it real quick because I don't want this real long, but we are doing 2 episodes. So, in episode 8, Alliya is waking up and her toothbrush was touching the soap dish, and so she is a germophobic, and so they have to go to the grocery store to get her the pharmacy to get her another toothbrush. And when they get in, she sees this home HIV kit, and she's reading it, and he was like, are you thinking about getting it? Would you really want to use it? When was the last time you had an HIV test? Now, they just had unprotected sex, okay? So she said, well, in the past year, I've had about 7 or 8 of them. And so he explained how she's a germophobic where, if she cut her finger, she going to go do HIV. If she step on a toy, she going to do an HIV. That she's very into that, and he doesn't want her to be worried about having unprotected sex with him. And so he doesn't want her to feel like every minute she has to take a HIV test. So he says to her, okay, so are you feeling like because we having unprotected sex that you're going to keep taking HIV tests when we already been tested? And she said, of course, because you said this was supposed to be a monogamous relationship when I got here and we're living together, and you haven't told me that. So, yeah. So, they ended up going out to lunch, and they have more in-depth conversations, and he doesn't want her to feel uncomfortable or limit the times that they have sex. So, he says, if you are satisfying me and I'm happy, then we don't have to do these HIV tests. I'll be monogamous. Now, that's not the words that Alliya wanted to hear. Alliya didn't like what he said. Alliya felt like it shouldn't be, if I'm making you happy in the bedroom, that's showing me that you really don't like, not that attracted to Alliya, and this is who I am. And so I'm uncomfortable with that. And so they started having a conversation. Well, are you attracted to me as Alliya? And he was like, well, it's different. I'm just, because right now you're fine. I know you said you wanted to put some more, you want a bigger butt and everything. But as far as going forward, other things, I can't stop you on that. But I can't tell you that I'm going to be happy with that because I'm attracted to a man. And so Shawn is bisexual. Shawn has been married to a woman. He has dated women, but right now he's into men. And he's saying that's what he wants, a man. So she's saying, well, I can't promise you that I'm not going to do anything else. And he said, I do understand that. And she said, I understand your position. And I'm going to tell you this. You wanted to just be friends. I'm the one that fell in love. I'm the one that, regardless of what happens to us, I do appreciate you and our friendship. And I'm going to always love you. And I will hold your hand through all of this. And together we'll figure it out. And so he was touched by that. But she knows really his true feelings. And it is what it is. So later on, they're still planning a wedding. And they go meet the wedding coordinator. And they're picking out flowers. And he didn't feel like being bothered with that. So he sat up and said, you guys go right ahead on. And so they go out. And well, they looking at the flowers, and the wedding coordinator wanted to know is how everything is going. And so Alliya told her that she's feeling very insecure. She don't think that he's really 100% into Alliya, that he's really, really attracted to Alliya. And she's feeling a certain way. And the wedding coordinator is like, well, when you get married, you want to get married because you're 100%. Do you want to continue to change your body? And she said, actually, yes. I want to get breast implants. And I don't know how he's going to feel about it, if he's still going to be attracted to me. Is he going to have a problem with it? And she said, so you haven't talked to him about it? And she said, no, I'm afraid. And so that's how it ended with that. And so later on, the wedding coordinator comes to the house that night. And she set up and asked some real questions. She just came right out and said, are you attracted to Alliya? I mean, first she said, are you ready to get married? And he basically said no. In fact, I wouldn't be getting married if it wasn't this 90 day, if I didn't have 90 days. Because I've done it. And I'm not really sure anyway because of her keep evolving. And so she said, so you're not attracted to her? And he was like, I know that I'm attracted to a man. And I know that she might continue to change herself. And now I'm not sure of how I'm going to feel about that. And I really don't care about getting married. I did that. And so she said, well, why are you getting married? And he said, because we have this 90-day rule. And so Amina felt real bad because she wants somebody to marry her for her. She wants somebody to marry because he wants to get married. And that's not what he's saying. So she's really hurt about it. And the wedding coordinator felt like they got a lot of work to do before the 90 days, before the wedding. And so I think that's going to be it. That's all I have. That's all I got. Guys, go into the comments and tell me, what do you think about this? Do you think that Alliya is still Doug and they've been together for 4 years? And unless that's what he said to the wedding coordinator. I've been with Doug for 4 years, but I only been, he didn't say Doug, but he said I've been with her for 4 years, but I only been with Alliya for a couple of months. Do you think they're the same? Do you think that Greg is wrong? Do you think that Greg will get a job? Do you think that Stevie should marry her man? Make a comment in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.